Okay, I hope this is working. Let me look at my mic levels. It looks good. I'm going to try this little white button to see if that can give you a better start into this so you don't have to edit it in. And I'll do a quick little nerd sesh. Okay, hey, good morning. I thought we could nerd out a little bit this morning. It is very early on your Friday for me, and I know how much Demetrius loves when I nerd out about the weather. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it to you here. We've got a thunderstorm chance, a round of storms expected for your Saturday. It's been on our 7-day almost every day this week. And the reason being is because there's been these signs of what we call a shortwave trough moving into the area. You can call that a number of things. I tend to call it a vortex. I think it's technically called a shortwave trough. But I wanted to show you exactly what that looks like in terms of weather models and where I see it and what I'm doing when I look at it. So I've got the College of DuPage website up here, and I'm going to, shout out to COD, I'm going to click on the GFS. And I'm actually, instead of zooming in on Chicago, I'm going to take kind of a bigger view, and maybe I'll go North America. Oh, baby. Yeah. And this kind of gives us a good idea of the middle and upper levels of the atmosphere. Well, not right now. Let me click on, I'll look at 500 millibar vorticity. This gives us a good idea of the middle and upper levels of the atmosphere. When you go higher into the atmosphere, your pressure actually decreases. So that's why it's called 500 millibars. But when you forecast, you look from the far upper levels of the atmosphere, 250 millibars, and then you work your way down to the surface. And so what I'm looking at this morning and what I've been looking at all week is something called, you get these kind of long waves, and you can get long wave troughs and long wave ridges. And essentially it's this elongated area of pressure, whether it's high or low. And this morning, I'll go through time here, we happen to be under a ridge. And that is basically where you can see my mouse here, my cursor, where you see this big hump going on with these lines. That is a ridge, and usually under a ridge you get fairly quiet weather, which is what we are seeing today for your Friday, or what we saw today for your Friday. You get, kind of warmer than normal temperatures at times. You get quiet weather. Usually you get some sunshine. Obviously we had some increasing clouds today. And generally speaking, it's pretty quiet in terms of any precip. However, if you look off to the west, this kind of, it's called a trough. I'm trying to think of a good word to call it. But that big kind of wave that's going on off to our west, that's an elongated trough. These are usually associated more with active weather, sometimes severe weather, especially if it has a negative tilt, sometimes just general rain and thunderstorm activity, which is what we're going to see, I think, into tomorrow morning. So I'm watching that trough, and within a trough, you can get what is called a shortwave trough, or what I like to call a vortex. It's basically a little chunk of energy that breaks off, and it moves a lot quicker than the big trough. And so if you look, this is right around, let me see, what time do I have this at? It's the early morning hours. So, I mean, I'm recording this around 4:45 in the morning while we're on air. But this model is from a little bit sooner. It's the 6E model. So if you look at this little chunk of bright colors, it's kind of a reddish, yellowish. That's an area of vorticity. And that area of vorticity, as I go through time, starts to move quickly and enter our area. You can see it's kind of ridden up and over, and it enters our area late tonight and primarily into tomorrow. And so that little chunk of energy, that little vortex, is one of those things where I'm like, that's usually a weather maker. And that's what's going to, at least in part, give us a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. So I want to make sure I'm getting all the information that I wanted to tell you. I'm also listening to the show in my ear right now. Marcus is in trending, and he's going to toss to me soon to do a weather hit. Anyways, so you've got a short wave, basically a little vortex headed over us in the upper levels of the atmosphere tomorrow morning. Those tend to be weather makers. They're not necessarily severe weather makers. They can be, but they're just weather makers in general. They give us more energy, essentially. What we also have going on, in addition to way up high, this shortwave passing over us, is we also have a warm front moving in. And so I'll show you that. And sometimes it's easier if I just show you this This is from NCEP, which is a government-based website here. And as we go through time, I'm scrolling through time, you can see that warm front that's off to our west. And as that moves in, it can sometimes also trigger some showers or thunderstorms. Fronts are at the surface. So we had a vortex aloft, we have a front at the surface, and those two things, both generally in the area and moving over and into the area at the same time, can create both instability and lift into the atmosphere. So I'll show you the warm front really quick on a model too, because you can see these on models. We'll go back to the old trusty GFS. That, if I didn't say, is a long-range forecast model. It's the American model, and it just means we can go further out in time with it. They're generally a little less accurate because they're longer range, but they let us see some trends. So here are your surface temperatures, because remember, warm fronts happen at the surface, which Demetrius and I have a big fight about in terms of occluded fronts, because occlusions don't happen at the surface, but I digress. Here we'll go through time on your temp map. And I'm going to get into tomorrow afternoon. So this is your Saturday afternoon temperature. Well, this is your Friday. Sorry, let me get into your Saturday afternoon temperature. You can see this big blob of hotter air and then cooler air over us. One sec. Hey, good morning. We've got temperatures today making it into the middle 80s. Lakefront will be a little bit cooler, right around the 80-degree mark. You've got some sun around here today, and then we'll increase clouds into the afternoon. We do have a round of thunderstorms expected tomorrow morning into the early afternoon. Some heavy downpours with that, and the later we get into your Saturday, the drier it looks. 83 tomorrow. Looks a little cooler due to that rain, and then as we get into Sunday, things look quieter. Back to 86, lakefront cooler. That's your forecast. Back to you. Okay. That was a quick weather hit I had to do on air. Okay, so back to your warm front. You can see these on our weather forecast models as well. And so you can see the big blob of warm air, obviously. A warm front is basically a big warm air mass that's kind of moving into a cooler air mass and replacing that cooler air mass. So you can also see these little kinks in these lines. That usually indicates where the warm front is draped. So basically tomorrow you've got a warm front in the area at the surface. That can create some lift. You need air parcels to lift into the atmosphere to get storms. And then you can also, you get that chunk of energy, that short wave, that vortex up aloft. So to wrap it up, I'm going to go into a shorter range model, which is our HER, and I'm going to show you going through time. This is all Friday. This is Friday night. And then you can see by Saturday morning, you've got this little area of showers and thunderstorms. That's still the morning, that's your late morning, that's the main area of thunderstorm activity, and then into the early afternoon hours. And so it's obviously easy for us to just look at this and be like, hey, chance for rain. But I thought I would nerd out and show you why that area of rainfall is popping up on our models, and it has to do with that vortex aloft and that warm front that's moving in. So there's your morning nerd sesh. Hope you enjoyed it. And I also hope that all day today, things didn't change and it's going to be dry or something tomorrow. And I will leave that to the guys here tonight to update if that vortex moved a little more northeast or not. So anyways, hope y'all have a great weekend.